Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Star Wars Expanded Universe, now dubbed by Disney, or current Lucasfilm, whichever way you slice it, Legends. Today I have for you the second half, because I'm a weirdo, of Jedi Apprentice, The Followers, focusing on Obi-Wan and Anakin. Don't have too much to say about it though, but it's there. Then we have Jedi Quest Zero. It's just called Jedi Quest, a good 300 something pages. And of course, is a series also written by Jude Watson that focuses on Obi-Wan and Anakin. And then we get to the number one first book in the actual series of Jedi Quest um, by Jude Watson. A little bit confusing there, but that is how it is. For Jedi Apprentice The Followers Part 2, it of course, if you're not a weirdo, you would just read it all together, which the first half's about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, Master and Apprentice. They meet this weird professor dude. I mentioned this before in my earlier talk about it, who's like crazy, super obsessed with the dark side. He finds a holocron. And that story gets brought back up here. He's still been in jail all this time, but stuff is going on around this time period. So Obi-Wan needs to talk to this guy. And of course we have Anakin there as well. And it's a fine little second half of the story. It's nothing fantastic. Doesn't really do anything crazy for Anakin's growth, character development, or anything. But it is a very, it's just nice to have more of this like kind of peacetime era between episode 1 and 2 before Anakin goes to becoming closer and closer to dark side. We we get more of him as the good kid. But that's pretty much it. Jedi Quest Zero by Jude Watson. The beginning of the book, it's not really a spoiler. Anakin gets to craft his very own lightsaber for the first time. He hasn't had one previous to this, so we get to have a lot of I'll say Dagobah moments. That's as far as I'll go with that, and that's very interesting. I really What I love about Jude Watson is she really knows how to write these characters, and it's really interesting because if you've read Jedi Apprentice before this, you know the dynamic that she wrote with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and now you have this whole dynamic reversed. Now Obi-Wan is now the master, Anakin is the apprentice, and since this is a book, you get to go inside Obi-Wan's head, so you have all these things where you have all this doubts about Anakin, but at the same time this pride for Anakin and this love that he has for him. And I just love that. And there's just little moments in all of these series that I just, because the thing with these series is the main plot is never really the driving force of why you want to read these, in my opinion. Like it's the characters, it's the interactions between them that make you read these stories. But the main story for this being fairly okay, there is a slaver who we later learn because of a flashback that earlier on, a couple years prior to the events of episode 1, he had come and raided a whole bunch of places, stolen slaves so he could resell them into slavery. His mom was not one of them, he was not one of them, but people around him that he knew had been stolen. And so that's a bit of a personal thing for him. For reasons you'll see if you read it, And so there's some good stuff there for Anakin. That slave thing being a huge thing for him, which would continue to be a thing, because then you get to Filoni's Clone Wars, and they also have that episode with the slave stuff, and he's like, because that's how Anakin is when it comes to slavery, only to become a slave himself. But trying to see. Yeah. But overall, I really enjoyed this one. And it's like 315 pages. So that's only like 15 pages less than Rogue Planet. So that's really cool. that you get a bit longer time with Anakin and Obi-Wan, which I really appreciate about the expanded universe. I share some of these with my friends who aren't like as inclined about the expanded universe. Like, bro, you're still in episode, or like in between episode 1 and 2. I'm like, yeah, I know. There's not as much stuff here as there is in pre-episode 1 stuff, but it's just nice because we all know where this is going, right? Because Anakin's going to become Darth Vader, and so it's nice to build up that relationship, especially because in episode 2, while you can see the camaraderie that they have at times, that movie is full of conflict between Obi-Wan and Anakin because of like the angst and the anger that Anakin is feeling at that time. So here they have disagreements, they argue and stuff from time to time, but you can really see that the bond that's growing. So that way the episode 2 first time seeing them as master and apprentice, you don't feel like this constant tension between the two and be like, oh no, they've been master and apprentice for 10 years, but this is the time where he's kind of being really really a jerky jerk. And then the camaraderie comes back with the Clone Wars. So, and last we have Jedi Quest One. Oh, never mind. I also forgot to mention. Actually, no, I can't mention that. Spoiler. I'll talk about that later. Okay. I don't have. It's not a big thing, but it kind of is. But I love seeing characters come back. Anyway, if you come over here we go to Jedi Quest One, The Way of the Apprentice. Obi-Wan. Oh, I guess I'll mention that in spoilers. I'm sorry. This one, the main plot is they go to this planet that has a toxin on it. Well, it's Obi-Wan and Anakin, and okay, I guess I gotta mention it. In the last thing I just mentioned, Jedi Quest Zero, Siri shows up. Siri being Obi-Wan's former, still friend, but former something more than a friend. She's there, and she is now the master to a character named Ferris Olin. Now, Ferris Olin is going to have his own young adult series by Jude Watson, of course, during the dark times after Order 66. So that's why I mentioned the name. But it's her and her Padawan Ferris, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and a couple other characters that I think are new for this book. And they all got to come to this planet, and Anakin's never been really good with making friends, so he's got to learn how to work together with the Jedi Padawans with the situation. And it's an overall fine little read. Like I said, it's the same thing with Jedi Apprentice. I never really. There are a few examples where the main story kind of stood out to me, but that's because the character growth was so integral with the main story. So like Melinda Dan, when Obi-Wan went to that planet and there was the Civil War going on, and Obi-Wan decided to help out with that. Like, those are situations where the main plot and the character development is going hand in hand. Whereas a lot of time in Jedi Apprentice, you have like the main plot, it's fine, it's not bad or anything, it's just not as interesting as every character development between Obi-Wan and Anakin and stuff like that, or having Xanatos pop up and stuff like that. So, but it was overall really fun. There's just 3 little things I decided that I should talk about right before the next big thing, being, of course, Outbound Flight by Timothy Zahn, the next adult novel for us to talk about. But overall, yeah, it's Jude Watson. You can't go wrong. Jude Watson is great with these young adult novels, and I think it's well worth your time, most definitely. But if you haven't read these stories and you don't want spoilers, now's the time for you to leave so you don't get spoiled. I don't have too much to talk about anyway, but you shouldn't be here. For those of you who don't care about spoilers, for those of you who are veterans and have read everything in the expanded universe in chronological order, as best you know how. You don't have to read in chronological order. But if you've read this series, I just want to make the Matt Wilkins joke. Did you know at the time of recording this, Matt Wilkins is going to be going through the entire expanded universe in chronological order, just like me, and all of his videos are going to be vastly more interesting than mine. But yeah, last warning, if you don't want spoilers, go away. 3, 2, 1. Mainly, I just wanted to mention in the Jedi Quest Zero, Siri is seemingly evil now. Of course, it's all a part of the plan. She's undercover, but it was very cool to see Siri again. And also, there's a part where Anakin's been resold into slavery, and Obi-Wan needs to go look for him. And he talks to Dee Dee, which of course is from Jedi Apprentice. So Jude Watson's bringing back characters from a previous series, and it's just really great to see them. And then I wanted to mention, because this is what I'm talking about, like Jude Watson does these things for like these are the things that stand out to me, and it's little things in these books. It's Anakin's birthday, right? He's turned 14. Oh man, why am I crying? I'm sorry. Or tearing up. I don't know. But Obi-Wan gives Anakin the River Stone that Qui-Gon had given him, and you know, if you've read the Jedi Apprentice series, when Obi-Wan was given the River Stone, which came from Qui-Gon's home planet, by the way. But when Qui-Gon gave it to him, it was a very sentimental thing he was doing for Obi-Wan. But at the time, Obi-Wan was being super, like, immature. And he didn't understand, like, he thought he was going to give him a cool new lightsaber or a cool new robe or something. And instead he got a rock. And he didn't really appreciate the gift until, later, where he kind of matured a bit. Anakin knows that this River Stone that he's giving him is something that Qui-Gon gave to him. And so Anakin instantly recognizes the importance of this gift that he's handing over, and so he holds it being like, thank you, but are you sure you want me to have this? And I don't know, that entire like opening, it's a little tiny scene, but it's those little tiny scenes that I live for. I love that. It's just such a sweet little tiny moment between the two of them, and I really enjoyed that. Um, and then that's pretty much it. I mean, of course, him and Ferris Olin don't really get along. As of right now, I mean, I know we're kind of supposed to see it from Anakin's perspective. I don't really have a problem with Ferris. He seems like a good Jedi student. The only thing is he comes off way too adversarial at the very end of the book, so that would be reason to dislike him. But other than that, like, he just seems like a good Jedi guy, and Anakin doesn't like that there's somebody, that is as competent as he is. So I don't know. This could be some of Anakin's pride coming through. But anyway, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm sure I'll have a lot more to talk about once we finish Outbound Flight, and I give you a review of my thoughts on that. But until that time, guys, may the Force be with you, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Till next time.